Hello, everybody. Good evening. Great to have you here. It's a beautiful day here in the sunny southeast of Ireland, Kilkenny. It's been quite sunny, and I'm sure that other people in other counties will say, "Well, why are you talking like that?" Well, because I want you to be jealous of where I'm based. Kilkenny is a place where people they love to come to. But we're even more blessed, not just for what you see around here, but also the fact that we have lovely weather. So it's great to be here. I want to say good evening to everybody. Thanks for joining us. We know that we're going to have more people joining us, but it is not our custom to wait for people. 6:30 is 6:30 and we're starting off. So it's great to have you here. My name is Toluwani Akahome and I am the founder and executive director at Her Genuity Africa. So what we do at Her Genuity? We are an organization that supports and promotes entrepreneurship and business leadership among Black and immigrant females in Ireland. So our vision is to see people of immigrant communities become very socially and economically independent, thriving in whatever space they are, particularly in business. So we seek to do that in three ways. We seek to do that through, first and foremost, getting people to take action as they understand the climate of entrepreneurship in Ireland. So we seek to support them to understand what entrepreneurship means in Ireland and how to be entrepreneurs in Ireland because it's a different landscape, different regulations, and all of that when you come into a new environment such as Ireland. And also, we want to seek to bridge the gap in terms of providing the support that they need to access the different resources that would allow us to start and scale our businesses. Hence, somebody like the CEO of Microfinance Ireland here today, Des McCarthy, so that he can help us to navigate the challenge of accessing finance in Ireland. And number three is helping entrepreneurs up their game and connect with more businesses within the Irish community. So we're not just focused on our own enclave, our own ethnic enclave, but develop the kind of standards that will allow us to become key players in the Irish business landscape. So those three pillars are what we are working on. So taking action, bridging the gap, and of course, ensuring that we create more opportunities for businesses to grow. Okay, so having explained that, I am delighted that this evening we are joined by Des McCarthy, but I'm not the one to introduce him. I have a special person who knows how to do this really well. She's done this for Her Journey since its inception. She's a core part of this organization, Gladys Asenokai, and I am delighted that you're anchoring this tonight. So thanks very much for coming on board. I want to say thank you to everybody that's joined us, those who have joined us already and those who will join us. It's great to be here. And from the board of directors and the board of management, I want to say thank you for joining us. So I hand it over to you, Gladys, and let's get off as we do this.
Thank you very much, Toluwani, for the opportunity once again to be part of this information session. And I'm speaking and joining you from Castle Dermot. And as symbolized by my background, it's a farming community. So when you come into it, Castle Dermot in County Kildare, you see loads of farmland, loads of animals and cattle, and it's also a historical small county, or county in this part of Ireland.
Says everybody both to have to do that.
Yeah, you're not having one up on Castle Dermot in this section. Give me an opportunity to sell my county. So you're welcome everyone on board tonight. And first of all, I would like you to comment where you're joining us from and say hi. I am joining you from Castle Dermot in County Kildare. I would love to know where you're joining us from. And you're welcome to ask the expert on Hegenuity Africa. And it's so important that we're having this particular discussion at this time. And business financing, as I wrote here, is an area most people are not familiar with or struggle with. It can make a difference in the success or otherwise of your business, no matter how ingenious you are, no matter how successful or ambitious your business is. Businesses run on funding. No matter how ambitious your idea is or how innovative your business are, most enterprises and entrepreneurial ventures need funding. And most often, as most of you may have realized, this is the hardest challenge of it all. And to help us navigate this murky waters, which it might be to a lot of people, we have an expert here. His name is Des McCarthy. Before we invite McCarthy to talk on this topic tonight, I would like to give a brief introduction to him. So I have here Des is an accomplished financial services expert who presently serves as CEO of Microfinance Ireland with substantial senior management expertise in retail and commercial banking. He has held key positions such as CFO and board director of a retail challenger bank. Known for his forward-thinking and results-oriented leadership, he continues to influence the future of the financial services industry with his visionary approach and commitment to operational excellence. Ladies and gentlemen, can we make a hearty Hegenuity welcome to Des McCarthy? Hi, Des, how are you tonight?
Well, I feel that you've flattering me there by that introduction. I must have wrote that because nobody else would have written that for me. I must have that somewhere. So I feel good if I'm like that person. Okay.
And
well,
where are you connecting up to us from in this beautiful country of Ireland?
I'm connecting to you from Clonskee in Dublin.
And how is Clonskee this evening?
It's a bit dark and miserable. And today we didn't get much sun today. I have to say that we were quite cloudy today, but we didn't get any rain, so that's pretty good. But no, I haven't been fortunate with the weather. So maybe if I could just share my screen with you.
Okay.
If that's okay.
That's fantastic. Yeah.
Can you see that?
Yes, we can. And straight into it, Des. Accessing finance for businesses, especially for migrants in Ireland.
Yeah, okay. So 1 second now.
And while we're waiting for Des to set up properly, I would like us to keep our questions till the end of his session. That will give us an opportunity to properly listen and focus on what he's saying, and that will give us also ample opportunity to prepare our questions ahead of time and to ask him as many questions as we possibly can. Thank you.
A little difficulty here myself, but you can see it one way or the other, can you?
Yeah, but this the screen is small.
Okay, well, I'll stop sharing and see if I can go back and do it again.
Okay. Okay.
Still very small?
Yes.
Des, what you could do is now the slideshow.
Slideshow.
Okay. Yeah.
So I need to use
The slideshow is up there. Yeah, by animations there.
Okay,
That's perfect.
great. Okay. So look, good evening, everybody, and thanks for the opportunity to present to you. As Gladys said, my name is Des McCarthy, and I'm the CEO of Microfinance Ireland. So, who are Microfinance Ireland? So we're here to support micro enterprises and support businesses. And we're a government-supported lender for micro businesses that have difficulty accessing finance and loans from the traditional bank network. And we're a not-for-profit lender, and we provide business loans from 2,000 to 25,000 euros to startups and established businesses located in Ireland. So that's important, that are having difficulty accessing finance from the banks. And it's because we have government support, we're able to take a much higher level of risk than the banks are happy to take. And that's reflected in the number of startups that we fund. So we fund probably about 40% of all of our loans go to startup businesses. So we're well familiar with the risks of startups, and we're happy to take that level of risk because of our government funding. So the type we provide loans for normal business expenses like buying stock or materials or fitting out of premises or buying equipment, or simply for cash flow purposes. So all of those legitimate business purposes. And we lend throughout Ireland. We're not just Dublin based. About 75% of our lending is based outside of Dublin. So we're funding businesses in communities across Ireland. And that's important to us that we continue to do that. And one of our strategic goals is to provide more support to business owners in underrepresented groups. And when we talk about underrepresented groups, we mean women, migrants, youths, seniors, and people with disabilities. So it's important that we try to increase the amount of lending that we do to these groups. And that's the purpose of my presentation tonight, to raise awareness among your group that we're looking to fund the businesses that you're looking to start. So who is eligible to apply for a Microfinance Ireland loan? Well, to apply for a loan, you must be a business. So we don't provide any personal loans. Your business must be a micro enterprise. So it must have fewer than 10 employees and turnover of less than 2 million. And that's very important, because that is a European-wide definition of a micro enterprise. That's the reason that we're able to take these government support and the other supports we get is based on us funding only micro enterprises. You must sustain or create at least one full-time job in Ireland. And that job could be the business owner, or it could be the owner employing somebody else to run the business for them. But one way or the other, there must be one job created or sustained. And the business must be based in Ireland. So those are I suppose, the key eligibility criteria for our borrowers, are able to apply for a loan. So looking at the types of businesses we lend to, well, about 40% of our customers are pure startups, and 60% are established longer than 18 months. The businesses tend to be small. The average number of employees at the time of application is less than 2. In fact, if we average it down, it's at 1.7 employees. So while we do have customers with much larger numbers, they're very, very few. Most of them are small businesses that are starting out, or established businesses that are just looking for some finance. We lend to most business sectors, and our clients include hairdressers and nail salons, cafes, food trucks, bakeries, restaurants, creches, gyms. Like they're across the whole business spectrum. those are some of the businesses that we do this. We also provide funding to services. So people who might want to set up as a consultant in something would also be eligible to apply for a loan. So there are some sectors that we don't lend to, or we're not permitted to lend to. And for example, that would be the production of distilled alcohol, anything to do with gambling. We don't fund research and development, but there's a full list of those on our website. Most people who are on this call are probably not going to be impacted by those restrictions. But it is important, if you are looking for a loan for us, that you have a quick look at those restrictions, so that you're not wasting your time in applying to us. Our customers are often first-time business owners, so they come to Microfinance Ireland if they've worked for somebody else in the industry and they want to set up in their own business or something like that. Or else they might have been made unemployed from the business and are setting up in an area that they have experience in. And I suppose many of the business owners have not had their own business before, so they will be first-time business owners. The business owner often has only a small or no amount of money to put into the business, because they're coming to us for a reason, and that reason is because they don't have the equity, or they can't raise money in from family or friends and other processes. And finally, I suppose we're a national organisation. As I said, over 70% of our loans are outside of Dublin. In fact, I think it was 76% last year, and that also is a goal for us to keep that up, and to be lending and contributing to the vibrancy of local and rural communities, which is very important. So, just to say a bit about our loans. So, first of all, the maximum loan is 25,000 euros, and we try to keep the loan fairly simple. So we have 4 different types of loans there, but essentially they're all very similar in structure, and some of them have other sort of some unique features that maybe, for instance, for the startup loan, there's a 3-month interest-only period, which allows the business to get some traction and generate some revenue before it has to start making its repayments. And the small loan is a loan up to 5,000 euros that has less demands in terms of the amount of documentation that you need to provide. All of our loans are unsecured, so we don't require any security for the loans. Our interest rates and the monthly repayments are fixed for the duration of the loan, and we think that's important because that gives you certainty as to the cost of your loan. And you can find out how much you will need to repay by using the loan calculator on our website. So we have this loan calculator on the website, and if you go into that, you'll be able to find out how much each month you'll need to repay for the amount that you want to borrow. But if you take an example there of a 10,000 euro loan over 3 years, the monthly repayment will be 306 euros. So and that's on the basis of the current interest rate of 6.5%. So you're going to know every month that'll be the amount that you need to put aside in order to repay the loans. And the loans can be repaid over 3 to 5 years. So there's a good bit of flexibility there. One of the things that we promote is that we're very closely involved and work very closely with the local enterprise offices. And I'm not sure whether you're familiar with them, but I hope that you would be. And if you work with the local enterprise office on your application and it's submitted through them, there is a 1% discount on the interest rate. So it's 5.5% rather than 6.5%. And then the other thing that we offer in addition to loans is once a loan has been approved, if we feel that the business owner would benefit from mentoring through the local enterprise offices. We would pay for that mentoring in order to fill some skill gaps that the entrepreneur or the business owner may have in terms of, maybe it could be marketing or finance or whatever. If we felt that there was a need to improve those skills, we would pay for mentoring, which will be delivered through the local enterprise office network. So looking then on how to apply, I suppose the application process is fairly straightforward. First of all, you'll need to register on our website, and then we'll send you an application pack. I suppose this process is going to change a little, probably towards the end of March into April, because we're going to be automating an online application form. But at the moment, you register on our website, we'll send you the application pack in an email. You then need to complete the application form, which includes a business plan. Now, the business plan doesn't need to be very, very detailed or very long. Just the purpose of the business plan is for you to be able to tell us about your business idea and why you think it's going to be successful. And that can be 100 words or it could be 200 words. And some people have big business plans, but we don't need to know everything about the business, but we just need enough to be able to say, yes, we think that this is a good idea. We will need a 12-month cash flow forecast. So basically a forecast that shows what your income is going to be, or what you expect your income will be for the next 12 months, and what your expenses will be, and the timing of those. It's simply really a list of what you think you're going to be able to sell, and the income that you're going to take in, and then the list of costs and when you think you're going to be able to pay them. And I suppose that'll give you a very good idea as to your cash requirements and the cash generation of the business, and you'll be able to see, well, this is the bank repayment part of it, and I'm able to repay the bank. We also need 6 months bank statements for the business if it's established, and for the personal bank statements. We will need to get a credit report from the Central Credit Register to the extent that there is one. Some people may not have borrowed before, and if they haven't, well, then there won't be a CCR for them or a credit report for them. And once the application has been submitted and all of the documentation is ready, we undertake to process that application within 10 business days. As part of that processing, we will have one of our loan assessors, the people who assess the credit application. We will have one of them speak to you. We speak to all of our customers, either on Zoom or by phone, so that you can have an opportunity to tell us more about your business and give us allow you to put your best foot forward in terms of your loan application. And I suppose our mantra and our goal is to try to get as many approvals as we possibly can, so that people can start their businesses. And that phone call with the loan assessor is a very important part of that. I suppose one of the key tips for me is the local enterprise office. This is a free resource that is available to you all. There's 31 of them located throughout Ireland, 4 in Dublin, and the rest located throughout the country. And it's a free resource that you should be using. And I'm sure that you're all aware of them, but they are very, very good at giving you advice, but also they will assign somebody to help you with your application form if you're having difficulty with the application form. It's not an absolute necessity. We don't require you to go to the local enterprise office, but they are there to assist if you need help. So moving on to this is one of my last slides here. So how do we assess a proposal? Well, the first thing we do is we evaluate the experience of the applicant. and we look at their experience in similar businesses and what other experiences they have that'll make them a success in this new business. So that's, I suppose, one of the most important pieces is what your experience is, and have you worked in the business, in that type of a business before. We also obviously evaluate the business idea and focus particularly on what is being sold and trying to understand why people will buy the product from you instead of from a competitor. And then as part of that, we'll also evaluate the cash flows around that. So the income that you receive and the payments that you have to make out. We look at what the loan is being used for and whether the loan amount is realistic or not, whether the amount requested is required and realistic and will be able to achieve what you want to achieve. And then, we will examine bank statements and the credit report. But I suppose it's important to note that a bad credit report is not a decline factor. I suppose if there is a bad credit report, we would look to understand how it happened and how the borrower dealt with the debt. We understand that lots of people have issues trying to repay their debt, and that shouldn't be a factor that stops them from borrowing in the future. And then finally, we'll examine the repayment capacity of the business. So it's important for us that the business has a good chance of being able to make all of the repayments, because we don't want to over-indebt a borrower and put them into a situation that they'll be stressed around trying to make the repayments. Because that wouldn't be fair or reasonable. So that, I suppose, is a high-level overview. These are some success stories. So these are on our website. There is a video that I have, but I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to play it because I couldn't previously, but I can try. Can you hear this?
We can see it, but we can't hear it yet.
You might want to try maybe stopping the share and then going to see if you're sharing with audio.
Sorry, you couldn't hear that, no?
No.
I'm sorry about that. Okay. I don't know. I don't know enough about Zoom in order to be able to do that. But it's really just a customer testimonial. There's not a lot to it. So I think I'll leave it at that and just allow you to ask questions, and thank you for your time and listening to me.
Thank you very much, Des. As you would all agree with me, that was a very robust presentation. And from what you shared, it seems even more easier than I would have thought it would be. I was expecting you to add that we will need to bring our blood group and blood pressure in our application, because I'm sure a lot of migrant people are not aware of some of this criteria, or would have expected it to even be more tougher, but from what you've shown me, it's even easier to access. So I'm sure a lot of people will now be bold enough to come forward with their business ideas and, apply for those extra funding they need to give extra oomph to their businesses. And I'll start with my own question here. Does one need to fulfill a residency criteria before applying? Like, for instance, you've only just lived in Ireland for 2 years and you started your business for 1 year. Would any of that be a barrier to applying for a loan? Like in some instances, you would have had to stay in a particular place for like 5-10 years before you can apply for a business loan. So would that be a criteria with your organization?
So you need to be allowed to stay in Ireland, but we don't say you have to be in Ireland for a minimum period of certain time. If you've already been in Ireland, you have a business that's running for a year, that's great. But so long as you're allowed to remain in Ireland, because obviously we need to, if we have a 3-year loan, you need to be able to stay in Ireland and to run your business in order to repay that.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much, Des. To those of you that are just joining in, we've been talking with Des McCarthy. He's the CEO of Microfinance Ireland. And like you all know, we're talking about accessing finance for your business. And he just gave a robust presentation on how you can access funding for your business as a startup or an existing business. We have Amanda Yoni here. Amanda, you can go ahead with your question, please.
Thank you so much. Before I go on to my question, I just wanted to clarify, because I heard you saying as long as you've been here for a year. So does that mean that the business needs to have been running for a year? So is a prerequisite that the business should have been up at least for 1 year before you can be able to apply?
No. So long as you're allowed to stay in Ireland. No, it doesn't. You can start if you're starting a business from the very beginning. We would also look at that. It was only that Gladys mentioned the year that I mentioned the year, but no, you don't need to have started the business for a year. You can be a complete startup.
Okay. So then if I'm a complete startup, I suppose in terms of the requirements, the only thing that I can provide at that point is just personal bank details in that aspect. And what if I haven't been working for the last 6 months? Maybe I wasn't eligible or one reason or another, and so I can't provide any income or consistent income for the past 6 months.
Well, I suppose that there would probably be some state supports that you may have been entitled to, but that I suppose we will be evaluating the business that you're looking to start, not your I suppose we will look at your bank statements. And it's mainly to be honest, if I was being honest with you, it's mainly to see that there's no gambling addictions or things like that. Those would be the main things that we'd be looking for there. But just because you hadn't been working, that wouldn't stop you from being able to get a loan from us.
Okay, thank you so much. I think this is really helpful information, because I'll just go on a rant because until other people come up. But I started an online business. Well, I'm selling online, but it's an actual product, and I've really been having trouble finding out how I can get funding to scale up. Because when I reached out to the local enterprise, I needed to have been trading for at least 6 months in order to be able to qualify for the small business grant, and I hadn't been up that long. So they're trying to figure out how you can expand out of that. And I think the fact that there is no time limit in that is really one of, it's a good thing, because it allows people like us to actually then come in and avail of the services that you offer. So I'll definitely be getting in touch with the organization in one aspect or another, because this is great for me. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Amanda. Des, you see, we've made one person extremely happy.
Well, that's good. That's one more than I've made happy for the rest of the day. So that's very good. I'm 100% done.
And congratulations, Amanda, on your business. And that is what we're discussing tonight: accessing your funding for your businesses. Like, one of the things I'm personally getting out of here is confidence. That sometimes beyond the idea, what you might have a brilliant idea, but funding is a very crucial aspect of business. And one of the things that I believe Des also said is that you might need money towards certain structures in your business, like maybe a hairdresser that needs more tools. you'll be able to apply for funding for, one wouldn't think that you could do such things, with your business. And also, Des, do you need to have existing structures? Just think for like maybe someone that works from home, that wants to start a business from home, will the person be able to apply for funding? Or does the person need to have a proper setup office in a particular address outside your home?
I don't think that would stop. If there's a business there, and you're running a genuine business from your home, well then that would be acceptable too.
Okay, brilliant. Before I come back to you, Amanda, there is a question from Unami. I hope I called that right. From the services funded, do they fund recruitment, home care, property? I don't know if you get that, Des. Would you?
Property is no, we don't generally fund property. But services, yes, absolutely. If there's a need there, and there's a business there in Ireland, well then we can do that, yeah.
Okay, brilliant. I'll come back to you, Amanda. From Angela. Angela, you can go ahead with your question, please.
Thanks very much, Gladys. Hi, Des. Good evening. Hiya. Thank you so much for the presentation you gave earlier. I'm already in this process. I registered my business, Fab Extensions is a beauty business. You would class it under a salon, yeah. I registered last year, August, and I was on to Local Enterprise Ireland for funding, and I was referred to Microfinance Ireland. I was also assigned an advisor. I think her name was Una. And on this meeting, she highlighted some of the points you had on the presentation. But another thing that stood out to me was she said one of the requirements would be to have a physical location. So she said 6 months bank statement is necessary for the business and a physical location. So I just want to clarify with you if this is indeed the case.
So honestly, you're based in Ireland. I don't think we need to actually to have a physical shop. But I'm surprised that you say that. But that's certainly not my understanding, that we need to have a physical location.
Okay. And for
there
the
are people
bank,
like I think you're effectively working from your home.
I am working from my home, and like I said, registered the business in August. So I was just looking to get that bit of funding to, start expanding the business. Yeah. And I learned about the 6 months bank statement, but now you're saying it can be the personal bank statement, correct?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
So like if your business isn't running 6 months, well then you can't have 6 months bank statements. So whatever bank statements that you have, you'll need to provide those, and you'll want to provide them so that we can do our evaluation and give you the best chance of getting a successful application. So but if you're not, you can only provide what you have, so long as if you're only in existence for 2 months or 3 months or whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for clarifying, because when she said that to me, she also said, since I don't meet the criteria, I would need to wait until this year to have my 6 months bank statement and the property with the business. That's the salon. So that sort of put me off, so I'm glad that we're on this call now to clarify that that's not necessarily a requirement.
Okay.
So thank
you so much, Angela, for that question. And thanks.
I just have a question here, Gladys, for Des. Yes. So, Des, there is a perception that immigrant-owned businesses don't find it easy to secure funding from Microfinance Ireland. I just want to ask, what are the challenges, or what areas do we need to particularly look at so that we can cross that hurdle? Maybe there's some things that some of us are not doing right and we think we are. So if you could enlighten us on what exactly, because I know that regulatory issues could be there. So what are those things that we can do, those key things that we can use to circumvent this area so that we can actually be able to, we can qualify for the funding?
See, I don't. I kind of maybe turn the question back on you to try to see what challenges have you do you see with applying for our product, because we're very much open for business for migrants and business owners. So you know, maybe there's an education piece there around, you know, do you need to have a physical premises or not? You know, I suppose the one question around the physical premises may be if there are regulations around health and safety. So, for instance, if you were, I don't know what it would be in a salon, or, but say, for instance, if it was a food production business, obviously there's going to be health and safety issues around that, and there's going to be certain regulations that you need to comply with.
Yes.
So, in that case, we would want to be sure that you're going to be able to comply with them in the premises that you're working from, which may be your kitchen. But you need to be able to, I suppose, show that you're aware of the regulations first of all, and that you're able to comply with them. So, but I'm not sure what the challenges are now.
Yeah, I think some of the challenges, or one key challenge would be that the asking for, which you have clarified, because the perception has been from the people that I've spoken with, but is that your business has to have 6 months, but you've clarified and said that personal accounts are also okay to show. So I think that would help greatly to move things forward, because it had always been, okay, how can I get 6 months when I've just started my business?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I think you've clarified a few points here, but I think people would like to see more. For example, the picture you showed when you were doing a presentation. I think people will be more open to saying, oh yes, it's going to happen when they see more people that look like them in those pictures. It would really motivate them to say, I know that if I do my own homework, then if I don't get the funding, that means I didn't do my homework. But if I do my homework, I'm certain that I can get on the funding ladder. Yeah.
And I think that's a very valid point, that people think if it's people like me are in those pictures, well then somebody like me has got that loan. So why can't it be me? And yes. I suppose we're trying to promote that. You know, so we may not have been good at that in the past, in making sure that we're inclusive enough and diverse enough, but we are trying to do that, and that's, I suppose, part of the purpose of me presenting to you and getting in touch
Absolutely.
with you was to raise awareness with you and to try to move that on so that we can have those positive testimonials effectively.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that. You're muted, Gladys.
Yeah, thank you, Toluwani, for that contribution, because that also jumped out on me, the issue of representation in the media and in the advertisement that we use in promoting what we do. But thank you for that response to our contribution, Des. That was really amazing. Amanda, Amanda, I've called you already. After Amanda, Basi, then Evelyn.
Right.
Amanda, yeah, please.
Thank you so much. And yeah, I just echo everything that has been said, but I think just an encouragement, as I was just thinking of my own needs going forward and my struggles of why I will be availing to this service. Of why I'll be availing to the service is one, like there are so many needs that you have, like from one website creation to marketing. It's something as small as something like a Canva, like Canva Pro needs you to pay for it. You might not have the thing, but you need to be like actively creating content for social media. that's something, and other tools that can potentially help you market. And I believe maybe a service like that, even those, when it becomes accumulative costs, it can become quite a lot, you know. And I think one of the challenges I would have also faced was the one-off location. And that was because when I was, like I said, I was registering myself on eBay online, and they need you to have like an actual address or an online virtual address, but you need to have one. But the online virtual address was going like costing from 400 going up. And at the same time, I'm still in a hostel, so it wasn't really the best thing to like put the hostel as a place of trading. So I had to ask a friend, but at that I'm still not comfortable having their details on display as an address, but because I don't have my own place. So even like availing to a fund like microfinance to say, I need a virtual office, can you please sponsor the cost of me being able to trade on that? It also just begins to eliminate some of those barriers that will just help you even throughout the registration process of a business, but you wouldn't necessarily have the funds. So I think it's also about the criteria being accessible and just having that openness to say you can come in for different things and not specifically the things that would have already been the bigger things, or, you know, but those small things that can sometimes fall through the cracks are also very important to other people or individuals like us that would be starting up. So yeah, thank you so much for that.
Thank you very much. Do you have anything to say to that, Des? Or should I roll it with the next question to you?
Yeah, look, I suppose I can see that clearly there are things that are not massively expensive, that but you still don't have the funds to pay for them, and they're necessary for your business. I suppose our minimum loan is €2,000, but that could be for a number of different things for your business. So I don't understand much about social media marketing, so I can't say, about particular packages or anything like that. But I suppose if there is if your demand or your need is around that €2,000 marks, well, then it could be a number of things that you need to start your business.
Thank you, Des. Basi, please.
Hi, can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can, Basi.
Okay, cool. Thanks. Sorry, I joined late. And thanks to Luanu for putting this together. And thanks, Des, for joining. So my question is around, if you have a business that is probably less than 6 months or less than 12 months old, typically, are they able to get funding through microfinance, or do you have to have a certain tenure for you to now be eligible to now apply for a loan from the microfinance?
No, you don't need to have a certain length of time in business. So you can be a brand new startup. There's no doubt that having some trading history makes things a little easier, but it's not a requirement. It's not a requirement. You can be a brand new startup, and we do fund brand new startups. It depends on the idea, the business idea, and how it's going to earn its revenues, and it depends a lot on the person who is looking to develop and to build that business, because the energy and the enthusiasm of the business owner is very, very important, because ultimately they're the ones that are going to make the business fail or succeed or fail. And so there's no minimum.
Okay, so sorry, one more question and one statement. So next question will now be, so typically, what is the advice you would give in terms of when you're putting together that business plan? What are the things you're looking to see that would improve their chances of getting this loan? What do you expect to see? I guess strong finance, but what are you looking forward to see, or what are your criteria, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, I think one of the things that you really need to look at is, first of all, what is the product you're selling, and why are people going to buy it? And why are they going to buy it from you rather than anybody else? And if you can put forward a strong case to say, this is the product, this is why people will buy it, and this is why they'll buy it from me rather than somebody else. That's a key part of the business plan. And then understanding your costs. So you're going to set it at a certain price, and then you're going to have a certain level of costs that you're going to need to be able to cover, including your loan repayments, but also very, very, very important, payments to yourself. So your own salary must be included in that. And that's the sort of thing we want to see from the business plan. I mean, because ultimately that's what we will look at. You know, do we think that people will buy this product, and why will they buy it from this particular person? And that could be because there's no other competition in that town or in that area, or it could be because it's a completely new idea and it's a free market for them, or it could be for any number of reasons.
Okay, cool. No, thank you. Then the last time I was going to make is, I know Leopold brought up the point I want to address is, so typically most co-working spaces can provide a virtual address for companies. So that's one way of getting an address is, if you go to most co-working spaces, you can actually get a virtual address for them, and then that can then be what becomes your company address as a solution for that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Basi, for that contribution. Because of time, we have to keep our questions tight. So Evelyn, please, one question so we can go around the rest of the room. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for this. Thanks, Soluwani, and thanks, Del. So I want to find out if there's a maximum amount that you can really request for, and if you have statistics on the number of migrants that have actually availed of your products. Can I continue? I'll just ask it in one go.
Yeah.
Then, and must you have a customer before you can have
apply?
You can apply. Must you have a customer? And the final one, do you sponsor MVP products? That is just
can you explain MVP for those of us that don't know what MVP?
Minimum viable products, because some in the tech world you could have like something that you've designed that's actually not working yet, but something just to show that you have this going. It could even be that you've done something small, a smaller version of what you intend to do. If that makes sense. Yeah.
Thank you, Evelyn.
So there's a couple of questions there. So I think you're trying to get away or get around Gladys's limits there. So 25,000 euros is the maximum loan amount that we allow. Do we fund minimum viable products? Well, we don't do very many tech type of loans. Many of our borrowers, or most of our borrowers, aren't in the tech space. That doesn't mean that we don't fund tech, but the MVP is more around a kind of a technology type of play. But I think if you can show that there's a market for it, yes, I suppose it'll be evaluated on that basis. You don't need to have a customer. Clearly, having customers is better, because if you have customers, you've proven that your business is something that somebody is willing to pay for what you're selling. So that it's very useful, but it's not essential. And I don't have statistics for the number of migrants that we have that we have funded, for the simple reason that we don't ask that data at the moment. In our application form, we don't ask your country of origin.
Okay.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. And before we go to Helen, I want to ask, how come nobody is thanking me? Thank you, Toluwani. Thank you, Des. And no one is thanking Gladys. So
thank you, Gladys.
Thank you. Yeah. And that's, my ego is saturated. So Helen, mind you, if you don't want me to cut you, make sure you thank me before you ask any question.
Thank you, Gladys.
Thank you, Basi. Thank you.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Okay. Good evening, all. I'm Helen from Kekelni. So thank you, Gladys. Thank you to Luani. Thank you, Des, and our co-immigrant. Please, what I want to ask is that most of the questions have been asked and answered. You know, when starting up a business, you know, you have certain things in mind. You have the land, the capital, the entrepreneurship, and the labor market before you talk of the consumer, the end product where your goods are going to. Now, if you look like where we are now, Kikeni, you know, it makes somebody's heart to bleed a bit because most shops are closed. I don't know why. So many shops are closed. And if I'm passing, if I'm just looking at them, I say, what's happening? One of those shops could be mine. I could open that and make business. But from what I'm getting this evening now, you just sponsor, that is the product itself. Now we don't have to talk of land. Now we have shops and they are empty. They are just there. Then people are working from home, fine. Then there are some products that, like somebody mentioned that hairdressing. You know, there are things that have to be in a structured place, you know, because you have people coming in and out. So you have something like cooking and what have you. So I want to ask, is it possible that you step up your from that 25,000 so that we'll be able to get labor? Because when you make your business to strive, I think there's a secret to it. Like if your mind is settled, you are happy, your business will thrive. And why will it thrive? Because like us immigrants, we left our people at home. So they are far back at home there. They know most of the work. And if we can get them here with us, you know, they spice up the place, and with them coming, you know, at least they are even our first customers. So we have them.
Helen, because of time constraint, can we just, you know, you're making so much brilliant points, but we just want to hone it in so that the next person can ask because of time. Apologies.
Yeah, so I just want to say, can they step up his game by bringing the money maybe higher and looking into the structure, not just the product itself, where we can fund our business. Yeah, because that amount is for the products you are selling or whatever you are doing. It's not for the structure where you are, nor is it for the labor. And you have to pay for labor from that money he has just mentioned. You have to pay yourself. You understand? So that's just my question.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I suppose I think the question is around the amount, the maximum amount of the loan.
Yeah,
and no, I
so.
mean we're government funded, and the government certainly at the moment have indicated that the maximum amount of the loan would be 25,000 euros. So for the moment, certainly there's no immediate plans to increase that amount. So that I think the answer to that for the moment is no. It's not within our control either.
Okay, thank you. And Felicia will be our final question. Felicia, your question, please. Let's make it one question.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much, Gladys, and thank you very much to Luani, and hello, Des. Thank you for your presentation. It was quite insightful. I'm glad to hear that, you know, some of the criteria that I thought was, you know, important are not so important. So that's really good. My business is Some All Cocktails. So it's basically premium, pre-mixed, non-alcoholic cocktails. And my question really is, if I'm applying for the primary grant of the maximum of 50K, can I then apply for the 25,000, which is what I will have to put down from microfinance? And what would be the repayments for that? So as a small business, if I have to buy raw materials and everything does have to be bought in bulks, because I'm buying like bottles, caps, labels, mixing equipment. So for me, then it's, if I have to buy in such large volumes, I do need that 50K investment to start and to scale the business. So what would be my repayments as a small business? And would it be immediate? Would I have to say I draw down today? Would I have to start my repayment next month? Or is it a case whereby microfinance will say, we're giving you 6 months to get yourself together and get up and running, and then you can start your repayment? Thank you.
Okay, so offhand, I don't know what the repayment will be on 25,000 euros, but if you go into our website, which is www.microfinanceIreland.ie, there is a loan calculator, and you can put in 25,000, the years that you're going to pay it over, and the amount will come up. So you can find that out for yourself on that. As I said in my presentation, 10,000 euros over 3 years is about 300 euros. So it'll be I don't know, I wouldn't know, I don't know the figures offhand. So the other question was whether you can apply for our loan when you're applying for a primary grant. I don't see any reason why not. So yes, there is, we don't do any payment holidays, but we do, for startup businesses, provide interest-only periods. So there would be lower payments in the first number of months. But we don't do any complete payment holidays on our loans.
Okay, so it would be immediate then.
There would be there would be an pretty much immediate repayment requirement from the month or so after the loan is drawn down.
Okay, that's really great. Thank you very much, Des, because as a small business, there's no point in applying for a loan of 10K or 25K. And if you have a monthly repayment of 800 euros, but you don't have that revenue coming in, there's no point in then going for a microfinance loan.
Look, yeah, that is, I suppose that is the one of the things about the startup. But we do try to facilitate that with having an interest-only piece rather than an interest in principal repayment during that period.
Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Felicia. I just want to remind us that Des mentioned earlier that they pay for mentorship with the local enterprises for anyone that would need mentorship while in the course of their business, maybe a startup or an established business, that they also make that kind of payment. Final question before we wrap up. Can we get multiple loans for different reasons? For example, I apply for 2,500, then come back and pay, apply for another 6,000 while the 2,500 is still in progress. Is that possible, Des? That's like 2 consecutive loans back to back.
Yes, that is possible, yeah.
Okay, that's from Amanda. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. Wow, we might have to ask Des to come back, because I'm sure if we allowed it, there'll be many more questions. But we said this particular session is for 1 hour, and I know that we've all been empowered, we've all been assured and anxiety alleviated concerning accessing funding for your business. So it's been Ask the Experts on Hegenuity Africa, and the theme is accessing funding for your business. And helping us tonight, our expert is Des McCarthy of Microfinance Ireland. Thank you very much, Des, for such an informative, brilliant, anxiety alleviating session. A lot of us are living more confident about our businesses and our startups right from what you've said. And like we all know that, like Felicia reiterated, it's easier than some of us would have thought it was. And even some of the expectations that we had, it's not that tied in stone. So thank you very much. Thank you everyone that has joined it from wherever you've joined in tonight, from all over Ireland. We have international audiences as well from Nigeria, and I believe other places joined us tonight. So thank you very much, Des. Any last word?
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you, Gladys. You've done an extremely good job. And Toluwani, thank you very much as well for
Thank you.
for inviting me to do this, and I'm very, very pleased that you did so, and delighted to be able to present to you.
Thank you very much. Looking forward.
Excellent.
Put it in your
Thank you so much.
calendar. We'll definitely have you back. Toluwani, over to you.
I just want to say thank you very much to everyone for joining us tonight. It's been really great. And thank you very much, Gladys. Thank you, Des. And I want to say, please join us. We're going to put this on YouTube. And then we'll hopefully connect more with Des and keep growing our businesses. So have a wonderful night. Thank you so much. Thank you, Gladys.
Thank
Bye for
you.
now.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Yes, you can have a replay on YouTube.
Yes, there's a replay. Yes,
Yeah.
on
Thank
YouTube.
you. Yeah. Thank
So I'm
you.
ending the meeting now.
Yeah. End of the meeting. Yeah.